Next session, we have a very exciting session, which is on industry transitions and green investments. And I'm truly pleased to invite our panelist and session chair for this session. We have Mr. Ajit Kumar Jindal, who is currently advisor, e-mobility and new products and technology at Tata Autocom Systems Limited. He serves as a board member of various companies such as Taco Pristoline, iDesign and Engineering Solutions, among others. He's also held leadership positions such as the former Vice President, Commercial Vehicle Engineering and EV Development Tata Motors, where he was responsible for the design and development of the entire commercial vehicles and defense products portfolio. We welcome you, sir. We also have Ms. Sangeeta Kaushik with us today. She's the Executive Director, heading the Corporate Planning Function at NTPC Limited, and nominated as Executive Director of World Energy Council, India. Before this, she was posted at Dhaka as MD of the first international venture of NTPC Bangladesh India Friendship Power Company Private Limited. Ma'am was also nominated Director of NTPC on board of multiple companies such as NTPC Renewable Energy Limited, NTPC Green Energy Limited, TELK, and Ratnagiri Gas and Power Private Limited. We welcome you, ma'am. We also have with us Mr. Shantanu Gupta. He's the Executive Director, Alternative Energy and Sustainable Development at Indian Oil Corporation Limited. He plays a pivotal role in expanding Indian Oil's portfolio in clean energy sectors and brings in extensive experience from various divisions within Indian Oil, including refineries, marketing, logistics, and supply chain, among others. Thank you. Thank you so much. We welcome you, sir. We also have with us Mr. Ravindra Kumar Singh, who will be joining us shortly. He serves as the Chief General Manager of... Oh. Yes, we welcome you, sir. Sir serves as the Chief General Manager of Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI. His work primarily focuses on enhancing the ecosystem for MSMEs in India. At SIDBI, he has played a crucial role in various initiatives aimed at promoting sustainable practices within the MSME sector. We welcome you, sir. Last but not the least, we have our session chair and moderator, Mr. Madhav Pai. He is the CEO of the World Resources Institute, India. Since April 2023, over his 15-year tenure at WRI, he has played a pivotal role in shaping its strategy, structure, growth, and held various positions including interim CEO, Executive Director of Sustainable Cities Program, and Director of Embark. He has written numerous research papers for renowned journals and authored articles and books on urban transport, urban planning, resilience, and clean air. Now I'd like to hand over to Mr. Madhav Pai. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the afternoon session after your lunch. And hopefully we'll make it very exciting so you don't get a chance to sleep. Just, I think, quickly, setting context, I'll say a few things and just throw some numbers. And of course, then we have very important people working on these issues on a regular basis, so we can hear from them. So just, I think, since this session is focused on industry transition and green investments, if we were to just look at, the scenario out to 2070, but what is the biggest mitigation opportunity for India to get to net zero by 2070, right? So if you just look out to 2050, about 50% of the reduction opportunity comes from the industry sector. Big opportunities in aluminum, steel, cement, chemicals, these are the four big sectors. So I think so the industry transition becomes absolutely critical. And as we all know, bulk of the industry is actually MSME in India. About 80-85% of the work actually happens in MSME. So I think systematically looking at the industrial transition as an opportunity becomes extremely important. We know that the other thing is basically the job story, right? We know today India needs to create about 8 to 12 million jobs a year, right? That is one. This is actually our biggest challenge without or with this green transition, is basically being able to create these kind of jobs. And what we are seeing is either we have people who work in the global economy, like probably most of the people in the room, or then you have gig economy jobs. There's just nothing in between. And that is And this green transition really becomes some sort of an opportunity to really at least create these sort of, good quality jobs for us. So I think that I think is the big opportunity. And basically we've looked at some of these sort of look at, we have something called the India Energy Policy Simulator. It's an open source sort of systems dynamic tool. All of you can also go and look at it. Just in that, basically what we are seeing is the net zero 2070 scenario if we follow. And by 2050 we will create about almost like a 2% sort of higher GDP growth, with the green transition. That also results in basically about 3.4 million additional jobs. Now again, these are very high level numbers. How does that translate into real action at the district level, at the state level? I think that's the real conversation we have to have. But the fact is just sort of setting this large context of, the big opportunity in industry, the need to create jobs, and the opportunity of the green transition to be able to create these jobs. At WRI, we've been also involved a little bit on the MSME transition side. So we've been doing some work with the auto sector in Tamil Nadu, working with the TN Skill Council, and thus trying to look at in Coimbatore and in Chennai. Similarly, we've been working with the textile sector in Surat. There, specifically also bringing the air pollution perspective. And I think one of the things, again, there, I think very interesting, trying to, again, once you get into, the thing is, now that you have this big picture, how do you get into the details, right? And that's the example I'll give. So Surat, as we started digging, it was very clear that the boilers was a big opportunity to translate. There were just two actually processes in, textile manufacturing. This is all synthetic textile. So just dyeing and, printing, those were the two sort of processes which were the biggest opportunity, both to decarbonize. And then what was the locally available material? So as we moved to biomass, then they were looking at coconut shells and groundnut shells as input. So I think, once, this is the sort of level of detail. And then you have to figure out the supply chain on these issues. You have to figure out the financing on these issues. You have to think about the transition, the training and the skilling of the boiler operators. So I think the hard part is how do we make this journey, right? We know broadly what we want to do, but at the same time, these are whatever, maybe 100,000 locations where this actual transition has to happen, and how do you make sure that the detail also gets done there for us to make the transition. Just one last point I would like to make also, I think, is Government of India is also very, very seriously now thinking of this cities as opportunities of economic development. And for years, we have not really talked about competitiveness. We have not talked about these in policy. Recently, Government of India in this recent budget talked about cities as growth hubs. They are going to think about developing these economic development plans. And so this whole idea of then really bringing academia, industry, skilling, transition, all to become a single approach that then can be done at a district level, that can be done at a city level. So I feel like a lot of pieces are coming together, but I think the real opportunity is also how we really connect the dots and bring them to scale. So with that, let's also hear from some of these industry stalwarts to see what they are doing and how we can all sort of collaborate and work together to really drive this. So I'll start with you, Mr. Jindal. You're at Tata Motors, going through a major transition into electric mobility. You've really shown the leadership. So really, what are your big initiatives and how are you thinking about these broad issues?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me for participating in this deliberations and giving me opportunity to be present in one of these sessions. I think as you mentioned, as far as the transition from say the normal IC engine vehicles to the electrified transportation at Tata Motors, because currently I am advisor to Tata Autocomp, mainly getting into the component manufacturing and system manufacturing. But at Tata Motors, we started working on the electrification much earlier, sometime by year 2005 to 7, when even the talk about electrification, talk about the environmental issues was not there. but mainly because of driven by what we sensed in from the environment, that what way the industry will move, which will be the new technology areas where we need to be present. So that's how we started looking at the electrification, and then what kind of a vehicle will be required, we started looking at that. So ACE, as probably all of you know, a small last mile delivery vehicle was our target at that time. So we did electrification. Of course, at that time, the costs and all things were very high, not actually viable for anybody to really buy those vehicles. But our main objective was not necessarily that we should be selling that at large numbers, but main from a technology development perspective. How do we really learn about the technology and how do we develop that technology? And then, of course, the whole transition from last mile delivery to the light commercial vehicles, then to the electric buses. That's how the whole journey started. And of course, the last breakthrough, as all of us know, was in terms of electric buses when the first tender under NMP came in, FAME 1 came in. So that is the vehicle development part, but probably from more interesting from the point of view of currently what Tata Autocomp is doing in terms of developing the technologies for supporting this development of vehicles was the leapfrogging, or you may say the early leap of faith which TACO took, was getting into the battery manufacturing and the electric drive manufacturing. So that's where we scouted around, because the Tata Motor was developing the cars and TACO had to supply these components. So that's why we quickly stitched few partnerships with Chinese OEM, Chinese manufacturers, and of course it was really paid dividend, and that was we were able to support Tata Motors their electrification journey. But we are not stopping at that. The main idea is that how we can be very self-reliant in making all these designing, developing and producing these components at the global technology level, as well as at the right price, which can really sustain this whole development of electrification. So means I can say that currently the status is that except for very few which components which are not made in India, where we like battery cells are not made in India today, nobody is making. Of course, that foray is being done by another Tata Group company. They are setting up a plant. As soon as will come, we will definitely use their cells. But as of now, we are making, except for cells, everything has been developed locally. For that, whether it is MSMEs or even the other tier 1 suppliers or tier 2 suppliers who can make these components locally, that's all we have developed. So similarly, the similar story is for the electric drive line. That also we have done development to the level that except for magnets, we can design and develop and produce every components locally in India. The third area, which was actually a little bit fuzzy or not being developed in India, was about the power electronics, which is actually the backbone of the whole electrification. So that is one area we said rather than we depending on any technology transfer from anywhere, we will develop it by ourselves. So that's what we have set up, like a startup within the company, which will be with a team, small team, which is working on developing all the power electronics assemblies like DC-DC converters, chargers, onboard chargers and all. I think the third major initiative which we have taken is because for many components, for example, within the batteries or within the electric drives or within the power electronics, many of the suppliers are not there. So for those, we have set up our own company as a TACO electronics component and systems company, which will be supplier to within the group companies. So that's what all initiatives we have taken to see to it that the whatever we are doing, we should not be just dependent on the imported technology for all times to come. We become self-sufficient and drive that initiative for times to come. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. And I think it's great to see how you broke it down course, I mean, power electronics, battery components, all of that. That's excellent. Uh, Sangeeta ma'am, I'll come to you next. I mean, NTPC is central to driving India's energy transition. So how are you seeing this just transition approach and ensure that we go on this path?
Thank you, Madhav. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Uh, First of all, as you have said, this transition is not very easy. Just to say that we changed our name from National Thermal Power Corporation when we ventured into hydro and other renewables to NTPC Limited, but still it is very difficult. Everybody refers to us as National Thermal Power Corporation, even our own ministry. So, but that is sometimes refers to us like that. But we have moved far ahead from thermal. But that's what I'm saying. So even the name change was so difficult to get it into the people's memories that we are no longer Thermal Power Corporation. We are an NTPC Limited. Uh, Now there are a lot of, for any transition, there are a lot of technological challenges because RE is there. Definitely RE, we have also ventured onto that path of RE in a big way. We already have 7.7 gigawatt of RE, which includes hydro also. Uh, but see, integration of RE into the grid is very, very important because RE is available only during the daytime. And India is a very unique kind of, unique in the sense that we have a lot of solar available during the day, but we do not have any other base load station, base load supply except coal right now. Other countries, other Western countries have nuclear, and for that matter, gas also they have adopted as slightly green, more greener than coal, and that is how they are meeting their baseload requirements. So, till the time energy storage becomes becomes a reality and is viable, affordable, till the time, and as we have a target of 2070, coal has to play that role of the meeting the base load requirement. But even by 2070 also, let me share with you that whatever scenarios you are talking about, there is a possibility that coal will continue. There may be some amount of coal capacity that will be there, but we may have mitigation measures. We may have so much of afforestation, carbon sinks, and all that that we are mitigating that requirement through that limited requirement supply of coal-fired power stations that may still be there. Uh, as NTPC is concerned, uh, we have to meet all these technological challenges because our thermal power plants also now have to basically flexibilization has to be introduced in it because during the daytime they have to reduce to nearly to the technical minimum, which is 55%, and during the night they have to come back to full load. For a coal-fired power station, it is not a very easy solution, but this is the technological technology where we have adopted, and I'm very happy to share that almost all our power stations are able to do that now, and and our stations, depending upon the load requirement, can ramp up or ramp down up to minimum 55%. Then renewables, as I have said, we have gone in a very big way for solar and wind, and we have set up a separate subsidiary, NTPC Green Energy Limited, where we are implementing this RE projects. But NTPC being a largest PSU, we have to look for big ticket investments because, as you're saying, RE may not meet the requirement of the employment because RE does not give much employment once it is operational. So we had to look at other opportunities. Other opportunities is energy storage. So battery energy storage is one thing. Then there is pumped energy storage, pump storage plants. So NTPC is looking at pump storage plants because those are high gestation projects, require a lot of investment, where maybe the private investment may not be much, which is expected, which is come a lot in renewables. But these are large ticket projects large investment projects, high gestation projects. And if these can be implemented, so NTPC is the right fit for these kind of projects, and they will generate employment also because they are like the hydro projects. Another thing that we are doing is we are going to the nuclear domain also. Till now, because India is also looking at increasing its nuclear capacity, and they have there is a possibility that NPCIL may not be able to do the entire domain of nuclear capacity addition that is planned. So now a joint venture was formed a long time back with NPCIL, but very recently I'm happy to share that we have got the permission for transfer of a project from NPCIL of Mai Banswara to this joint venture of NTPC and NPCIL. So NTPC's project management skills and new NPCIL's technology will be moving together, will be jointly working together to deliver this project faster and earlier. That is, so that is again one one pathway that we have opened up for net zero transition. Another is battery energy storage system. Again, we have kind of come out with a lot of tenders for battery energy storage system, which are available in the market now. As NTPC, I think everybody would recall, was the organization which started the solar business in the country, in the sense that states were not ready to bet on it, and NVVN and NTPC were brought in, and we kind of executed these projects in developer mode. So the same way we are being engaged as a nodal agency for battery energy storage also, and already NVVN has come out with a tender for about I think 500 megawatt capacity. So that is how we are going to implement this. One more thing is we are working on is biomass, as you said. Biomass, we are going in for co-firing of biomass in a coal-fired plants. We are not setting up separate biomass fire plants, so that maximum asset utilization is also there. So using the same assets, if we could do co-firing of biomass in our plants, up to 5% we have already demonstrated, and we can go up to 10% also, provided the biomass is available. So that is also creating a lot of employment, because biomass, right from cutting it, transporting it, delivering it to our project site, storage, that is also creating a lot of employment. So that is how our journey of just transition is working on. Pump storage, nuclear, biomass firing, and renewables, and battery storage. So we are working in all these domains so that employment is also generated, investment is also there, and we are able to do it sustainably, and a long-term solution is there for moving to this transition to net zero. So this is what I would like to say.
No, thank you. And also the point on flexibilization that you
Yes.
made, which is actually also very useful. No, thank you for laying out that whole spectrum of activities that NTPC has taken on. Mr. Gupta, Indian Oil has set a very ambitious target for net zero on scope 1 and scope 2 by 2046. So, as you build out, I mean, what is the general thinking around this idea of green transitions, reskilling, just transition? Yeah, would love to hear thoughts.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. Thanks to the organizers for inviting us. In fact, it's a very interesting story. When we started the thinking about net zero, as you know, we are Indian Oil Corporation. So oil means fossil, so we are already branded the same way what Madam has said, thermal power. So oil, fossil oil. So we mapped the whole refinery. We have 10 refineries across the country, which is having a cumulative capacity is going to be 105 million ton, which is more than 1/3 of the country's refining capacity. And it becomes a big challenge for managing this to just go for net zero. Because it's saying is easy, but when we started working, then I found that it is a really, really deep story. And then again, we have taken help of theory, scope 1, scope 2. Initially, we targeted scope 1, scope 2, because Scope 1, that definitely you can do. Scope 2, partially, madam can help, and also we can see that our grid power is becoming greener day by day. And scope 3 is a big challenge. Definitely, because scope 3, initially we thought that how to go about it, but it's a huge gamut of the emission. Because if you see our scope 1, scope 2 emission is going to be 40 million ton by 2030. And out of 40 million by 2030, with our mitigation scheme, we will be reducing by another 12 to 30 million ton. That means effectively we'll be left over with between that 26, 27 million ton from 2030 to 2046. So we have done our in-house team, distributed the team across the divisions, because we have marketing divisions, pipeline divisions, R&D, but 97% emission comes from refineries, because that's obvious. And other marketing pipelines, we are by 2030 to 33, we will be able to make them net zero as a division. Refinery will continue to happen, because we cannot stop supplying diesel, which is the major areas where the country is running on. And gasoline is obviously there. We have naphtha, then petchem. Petchem is also, it's a huge emission from petchem units. But if you see our plan, we have targeted initially the hydrogen, green hydrogen, because as a refiner, we need hydrogen to desulfur the whole things. This hydrogen, 50% green hydrogen replacement, we have planned up to 2030-31. We'll be able to handle that. And 350 KTPA will be required, that green hydrogen, to replace my 50% of the requirement. And we are heavily bullish on biofuel, in the sense, especially the biogas, because compressed biogas, as you all be listening, it's going to be a huge game changer for the country, because the waste converted to the energy, and the waste, mitigating that waste itself is a big challenge, and which is also addressing the fugitive methane emission by allowing it to happen. And also the biomass, which madam also touched, there also NTPC is also trying to get by co-firing. We are also trying to take it for digestion and processing and produce biogas. Indian Oil is already, we have a Gorakhpur plant running, and which is 200 ton of biomass is being processed. We are started plant with processing the cow dung, because that's another area which emits lots of methane if it is left like this. Our 2 plants are running. We have started Gwalior recently, and one Hingonia in Jaipur. And also we have already on the drawing board 30 plants, which is going to come by 2026. And this 30 will be a big, large capacity. We will be producing 10 to 15 ton per day of biogas. And this will be replacing our natural gas. So our transition is from natural gas to biogas, then to hydrogen. And this, the whole mapping has been done. We have seen the investment. It's a hoping 250,000 crore investments will be required. But yes, we are still not resolved with the money where from it will flow, because I have not increased the price of the fuel. That is not in our hand. So there, one part is that. Another part which is very important is the renewable, which we are also very bullish about that. We are targeting 31 gigawatt by 2030-31 and 200 gigawatt by 2050, because that's only to maintain our energy share. Because today we are 9.5% energy share of the country. If you see all forms of energy, electrons, molecules, everything. So we want to build up to 12.5% to maintain the energy leadership. So for that, there will be tapering off of our fossil fuel. So we have to get out of that loss. So we have to be equally active on this bio, then renewable, then nuclear also. We have our joint venture with NPCIL, just like NTPC also having. So there also we are working on that which areas we will be targeting. SMR, small modular reactor, this is also going to be very, very useful for our pattern of energy sourcing for refineries, because each refinery consumes around 100 to 150 megawatt of power. So if you can really install an SMR exclusive for a refinery with a proper redundancy and all those things, that's going to give a big solutions for that. So all these things have been planned, and we can assure you, because the comfort should be there for the people. We are with the new subsidiary, which is having a absolutely green business. They are not touching on the fossil business. So our learned board has decided that we will not attach the name of even Indian Oil with that. It will be totally independent. So that name is TEDA Clean Limited, which you have taken a oath that will clean the TEDA, the whole earth, so that there should not be any carbon molecules. Good carbon molecules will be there definitely because we cannot avoid that. That's the energy sources. And that TEDA Clean Limited has been formed, which has started working on that, and we are housing all our green initiative under that. And that will drive the future. So our target is by 2030-31, it will be in a full-fledged, vehicle which will take off from all these angles. We are going for a multiple joint ventures. One of that with NTPC also. Madam is also there. NGEL, they are also doing very good job because we are targeting around 2.5 gigawatt of renewables to that, which will be supplying to our expansion projects of refineries. Because our energy thrust is very high as a country, so we cannot stop. We have to take the bouquet together and take care of other avenues of carbon capture, utilization, storage, second generation ethanol, third generation ethanol. All this together, we are aggressively going ahead. So I'll stop here for further discussions in this. Thank you.
Thank you. I think also good to hear about green hydrogen, big bet on biofuels and all of the other transitions. Finally, I'll come to you, Mr. Ravindra Kumar Singh. Thank you very much. I think SIDBI plays a key role in supporting MSMEs. You have also been playing an important role on the EV transition. So I think really from your side, what have been the key challenges in this green transition, and what are the efforts that SIDBI is making to be able to sort of support this?
So at SIDBI, we believe that the globally justified transition can be only enabled by MSMEs because it has to be bottomed up, right? If that approach has to be adopted, the entire value chain has to be sort of made green, then it has to be bottom up right way. And so when we started and talking to MSME, it was like talking about butter and jam topping before bread and basic needs are not met, and you are talking about no, you should go green, and you should really be looking at green investments. So the first challenge was, let's build the capacity and awareness and sensitization. And it was required both sides, the supply and demand side. The banker side also, there was a need to build capacity because whenever a green project was coming, then it was put on the side because this may be innovative, emerging, unknown. Then how do we handle this? So general typical psycho is keep it aside. So we built almost 70% of SIDBI value chain. We trained on how to look at green projects. And then what we did was, we didn't have taxonomy at the country level, but we created our own taxonomy. We called it Actonomy. So a very clear definition of what is green and what is not green. Second is we created a basket of technologies. It is now today 890 technologies which are clean, green, energy efficient. So the dealing officer, and we have embedded it digitally, so they are not worried about whether this is green or not green. It picks up that this is green. And third is, every loan which we do has to be measured or filtered through environment and social risk framework. And fourth is, the SME has to be amenable to be monitored on GHG emission reduction or energy savings. Now, these two aspects of GHG emission reduction and energy saving, we have calculated for all 890 machine lists, and this need not be done by anyone. We say the MSME, don't worry. We say the appraising officer, don't worry. You have to just feed into the digital process. It will pick you up and it will guide you whether this is green or not green. If green, it will calculate. So this is what we have tried to enable in the entire structure. And that is what has made us to sort of enhance our business multifold on the green side. It took time, initial phase of sensitizing both the sides. Now, aligned to Panchamrit and the NDCs, we have picked up 5 missions. The mission first is mission renewable energy, which is we started with solar, And the first mission was 1,000 MSME का solar rooftop कर देना है. And then we worked with Tata Power also, did a lot of work together. Now we have a panel list of who all are working in solar, and whenever they approach, the officer is quite at ease to do. Then we shifted to wind, and then we picked up this mission renewable energy. Second is mission energy efficiency. There are energy inefficient clusters. We have worked in more than 100 clusters since 2005-6. Now we have made it a mission where we would like to intervene in many more clusters. We have identified those clusters, and the idea is that let us profile them, identify where are the missing points in product process, and attend to it. So this is mission energy efficiency. Third is mission EV. हम कहते हैं कि हर MSME के पास EV और के साथ EV. If they can buy EV, they should keep EV. Or if they use EV, they should go for EV. So we have this mission going on, and we started with a small mission of 50,000 EVs to be brought on road. They should be up and running. We have already crossed 40. So the idea was just to start small, give your dream a big push, and then go moving. And the last one is nurture the nature, which is basically adaptation side. And so we have gone full hog onto this also. This was one missing link. And recently we contracted a line from Green Climate Fund where we are setting up, it's a $200 million US facility. And we would use it to catalyze 800 million more and set up a 1 billion facility for greening Indian MSMEs. This covers both mitigation and adaptation side. Before this, we also helped one of the sustainable climate-centric startup fund to mobilize 24.5 million from GCF, and this was anchored by us, and they would be catalyzing around 120 million USD. Third is we have World Bank, Ministry of MSME, and SIDBI is powering this. We power two schemes, GIFT and SPICE. GIFT is Green Investment for Transformation. There, for any green investment done by MSME, there is 2% interest subvention for loans up to 2 crores. And then if they go for circular economy, like waste management, waste minimization, reuse, recycle, there is a capital subsidy for every loan of 50 lakhs. There is a capital subsidy of 25%. So these are two schemes. There is a site which is available. Anybody can put on the Google Green Portal and you will hit the site. And so we have I call it punch tool, which is we cater to financing, development, risk mitigant models. Like today we have risk mitigant models on energy efficiency side, municipal solid waste, and electrical vehicles. So there what we do is any case which has to be covered under risk sharing, the first technical evaluation is done by SIDBI team. We have a team of 30 officers who are experts on different themes which we work on. And they do the technical evaluation, tell the lender that we have seen the technical part, now you can easily go ahead. So with this sort of theory, once they do the techno-financial appraisal, they submit to us and we provide a guarantee backup to them. So here it is an add-on to CGTMSE where any case which fall in a particular schematic format, they cover. But here we do the technical evaluation. The banker gets the comfort of bankability aspect being taken care, and then we get going. Once this becomes mainstreamed, we shift it to CGTMSE. So that is the sort of model we thought of. And we would be working on many more areas. We are working simultaneously on many other. We have set up a thought leadership as a third vertical, financing, development, and thought leadership. Thought leadership is we have created a platform with AFD France. We call it Green Indian Financial System, because we believe that financing the green will not happen unless you green the financing. So we are trying to embed ESG into the entire lending framework, and that is the exercise we are working with them. And fourth is synergy with like-minded. We are on this platform just to develop synergy and derive a lot of energy, right? Your feedbacks really give us some insights into how to do better. And so this is the sort of framework we have created. The idea is whatever is emerging, whatever has not been touched earlier, if there are innovative models, we'll try to pick those models, try to work on it, try to mainstream it. And so we have within SIDBI, we also have arm's length with SIDBI because we cater to the banking as a whole, trying to be playing that DFI role in a proper way. So this is in brief, I can.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a good moment to take maybe one or two questions and then we can come back to the audience. Any questions?
Hi everyone, I am Supratish. I work with WRI India. Just now Madhav mentioned about some of the projects that we are doing. So we work very closely with the MSMEs on ground, particularly from Tamil Nadu. What we see there is the MSMEs don't take action unless and until there is a strong push, either coming from the regulation or from the buyers, be it the domestic or even the international buyers. So on that front, particularly to the speaker from Tata, what do you think Tata or even other OEMs are taking as proactive steps to actively push MSMEs to take green transition seriously? Like, for example, green procurement policies, how much are they coming on the way? And also how the large companies are supporting the MSMEs in the supply chain, be it in building this awareness or providing them the knowledge, the successful practices that the large companies have already taken for themselves, and transfer this kind of knowledge for the MSMEs to also like take up and do. So what kind of activities are already being taken by large companies, or what should be taken by large companies? That's one question I have. And on the regulatory front, I think anybody can answer how the regulation can be a push for the MSMEs rather than it becoming a constraint. In what direction should we go in that front? Yeah, thank you.
We'll take one or two more questions and then so let all answer. Ma'am, you had a question here. Anybody else? Please, we'll take one more. Okay.
So I go ahead?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Delphine. I'm based here in Delhi. I work for the European Union. So I hear a lot about green transition, and I'd like to bring the just dimension maybe a little bit more at the center. And particularly, Ma'am Sangeeta, you are the only woman on the panel. So some words from the esteemed panelists on what opportunities they see for women to participate in this transition, for women to get better jobs, for women to have access to empowerment and economic opportunities. Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Let's take one more, then we'll do one more round.
Yeah. No, I'll just pick up if that's okay. We talked about several sources of energy. One, anything from crude oil or its derivatives that could be used for generating electrical power is that because one of the arguments that we use in EV transition is you start with the same crude oil and you convert to electrical energy, you go 50% more kilometers on that with EVs. So maybe that's another source of energy since we're importing it anyway.
Maybe, yeah. So any quick responses? Maybe Mr. Jindal, you start and then, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much. I think to answer that question related to that, what we are doing to support MSME in terms of whether it is energy transition or in any other way in development of new technologies and all that. See, there have been a couple of initiatives which we have taken in TACO. One is regarding the development of MSME and exposing them to the latest technology and to the markets. So within TACO, we have got a division which really works with the various MSME to develop latest generation products and the technologies specifically for EVs, but for the other technologies also, whenever we are working on that. And also we are working we are supporting them to export their products. So of course, many of the MSMEs don't have their own wherewithal to really go and seek customers abroad. So what we do is our group find out customers or who are willing to import components from India. So we work like a bridge between MSMEs and those customers, develop those products, provide them all technical support, managerial support, quality system development support, project management support, all that kind of a supports we provide, so that they are enabled to really produce those products to the right quality which is acceptable for even the exports, and not to talk about for our own consumption internally within the company. So that is one. And also within Tata AutoComp, we have got a very, I would say, evolving process for ESG. So we are doing a lot of ESG activities within the company, and we are same that we are rolling out to all our tier 2s and tier 3s, so that we are enabling them also to do the transition from emission level 1, 2 and 3, like that. So that is also we are doing. So apart from that, I think while we have been transitioning from the normal ICE vehicles to the electrification, though fortunately you may say Tata AutoComp was not into the core IC engine components. We were in the peripheral system like cooling system, thermal systems. So we, of course, when you go to the electric vehicles, these systems are also there. But yes, they are in a different form. Their technology is changing, like we have to develop cooling plates, we have to develop the low temperature cooling systems. So one is that we are ourselves integrating the technology or developing the technology, and also involving a lot of SMEs in developing or working with us to develop those technologies. And very happy to say that a lot of these technologies we have developed, like developing cooling plates, which for global OEMs. In fact, many of these components we have developed for even global OEMs, and also within the Eco ecosystem, Tata ecosystem, we are developing those components. And in fact, that has helped even our existing companies to leapfrog in terms of developing their technology quotient, and then also improving their turnover. So that is about the MSME part that we are supporting.
Then there was actually, ma'am, you want to answer the question?
First of all, regarding that gender question, I think since she referred, what we believe that there is no such work that women cannot do. And just to give you an example, NTPC is into coal mining also, and there a lot of heavy machinery transportation is used. And what we have done is we have trained women drivers there. So we have a whole set of women drivers who are driving our heavy machinery, trucks and everything there. So that entire, in that Jharkhand belt I'm talking about, in that belt we have been able to develop and train those women. In fact, as part of CSR, although not related to energy, but for entrepreneurship development, we are running various courses around our projects for development of employment generation for women specifically. That focus we are bringing. But as far as energy training is concerned, because see, there's no such thing this domain is important that women should get into this domain. RE domain, only women should come into it. So any kind of whatever is the local trade there, that entrepreneur trainership training we are giving as in and around our plants, for which are specifically for women also. So this is how we are trying to bring it. As far as NTPC is concerned, on its own also, it has taken a proactive step because for our shift operation, we never used to have girls in shift operation. But very recently, we took one entire batch of girls because they had to do night shifts. So we took an entire batch of girls and they were put into operation. And one of the operating desk, matlab station, the control room is being handled by women in one of the projects, by the girls only. So this is kind of proactive steps that NTPC is still taking. But as far as engineers are concerned, we do not have any policy for this, but this special batch we are taken to ensure that they are put into operation and they are put into shifts. But we are putting girls into shifts now easily. There was some policy that did not allow it, but now that policy is also been taken care of. And that is not an issue at all now. And regarding this, sir, crude oil, we are not kind of looking at crude oil, but to tell you that regarding this green hydrogen, as Shantanu ji was saying, we are looking at green hydrogen in a big way. In fact, for a gas-based plants, we are already talking to Siemens, MHI, and GE who have supplied our gas turbines of possibility of blending of green hydrogen in the gas. That is what we are trying to do to kind of reduce our content. And for green hydrogen, because that green chemicals and green hydrogen is the solution that is going to be there for India, because we have to reduce our imports. And since we have a renewable energy source, is so solar energy is sufficient, is more than sufficient for our country. So that is what we will be using. So we already kind of looking at a using RE, we are trying to develop green hydrogen and green chemicals, methanol and ammonia, green ammonia. We are already working on a green hydrogen hub at Pudimadaka, where we would be doing this entire thing. And then we are also looking at capturing CO2 and converting it to methanol. So already a 10-ton per day CO2 to methanol project is being implemented at Vindhyachal, which is going to be already we have done the CO2 capturing part, and now the last part of methanol synthesis has to be commissioned. So the ones that is commissioned, so that are the areas that we are looking at, green hydrogen and green chemicals, but nothing into crude oil and this thing. That is my point. Okay. Yeah.
That's a very good question. That EV is charged with the thermal power, then what is the fun of having EV? So yeah, so long we are not able to go to the grid, greening the grid is very important part. But what IOC, as we are thinking that we have already installed more than 10,000 charging stations across the country. So our aspiration is double within another 2 years. And this we have done in 3 years' time. And then also we are integrating renewable power very specific to the retail outlets, like where from you are drawing your energy for the vehicle. So localized basis we are trying to attach with, because our 33,800 retail outlets are solarized, fully solarized. But that solar power is not enough to run the pumps always. So we are taking an organic mode. We are 1 gigawatt power generation capacity. We are quickly developing within another 1.5 year time. And there also strategically we are taking the big cities, where the footfalls are very high, the EV charging requirement is very high. So those stations will be given 100% green power with the storage. So that plan is already on the execution mode. So it may take some more time, but that will be ideal greening of your EV. That's the main benefits of EV will also come. And steadily over the period of time, grid is also getting greener and greener. So that will be a combination of that. Thank you.
Let's take 2 more questions. I think there was a question in the back. Somebody had their hand up. Can you ask the question? Yeah, please. Yeah. And then maybe you can go after it. Let him.
Should I?
Sure, please go ahead. And please, somebody give him the mic.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Konkona. I am from ASAR Social Impact Advisors. My question is towards SIDBI initiative on MSMEs. You mentioned about two projects. One is on 100 clusters of inefficient energy based clusters, and the other one on greening MSMEs. So would like to know whether when you are talking about this kind of project, are you also looking at scope 3 emissions in the supply chain of MSMEs as well, or it is only focused from the own core energy consumptions or greening initiative?
Hi, thank you. My question is for Ms. Sangeeta Kaushik and also Madhav Pai, sir. It's regarding the role of nuclear going forward. Ms. Kaushik was, thanks so much for bringing up the projects in the pipeline that NTPC and the rest of the PSUs are working towards. But I wanted to know if this is something that's a lesser considered option in our current energy ecosystem as having round-the-clock power becomes more and more important. We ideally would see a greater role played by nuclear going forward, but they've mostly been left out of the conversation thus far.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hi, I'm Mandvi. I'm also from iForest. My question is to Mrs. Kaushik, and thank you so much for kind of elaborating on NTPC's greening journey, which is really commendable, and congratulations for that. But I wanted to bring in a little bit of a just aspect to your company's strategy. Is that, I mean, of course, you're far from the coal transition question right now. But given that you have very considerable presence in coal areas, is there any thought around specifically focusing on these regions as you yourself transition? Or if it's not already there, do you think going forward there should be, given the question of communities and jobs and all that is kind of very, you know, in the morning also somebody brought up the question of regional imbalance in the way RE and coal is coming up. But NTPC will remain a central player in sort of trying to address that question. So your thoughts on that?
Maybe a regulatory question also if you want to respond to, but yeah.
So the last question is good one. So I told like we are tracking whenever we are doing green loans, we are tracking on two fronts. One is energy savings, which is accruing to the unit, as also the GHG emission reduction, which is happening. And that is a global norm with which this financing happens. We are on track on that. So regarding one question which was there, whether push or pull aspect applies, I would say pull is better than the push, because what we have done is whenever we intervene in these clusters, which I call energy inefficient, what we do, we start with energy audits, and I don't personally, like my team also, I've told them not to call it energy audit, it is energy health checkup. And we say that we'll get your health checkup done. Based on that, we'll identify what are the product process related slippages you have. We'll make you to understand this green health checkup report. And based on that, if you feel that you need a treatment in terms of going for green investments, we'll help you run this or travel this journey. Whether you get covered under one of the schemes, GIFT or SPICE or SETB has got scheme. Purposely, we have kept only two schemes in SETB. One is 4E and one is Green Finance. 4E is end-to-end energy efficiency financing scheme. So this largely covers the energy efficiency, and the other green financing scheme covers everything. Because we don't want the MSME to get disturbed, complexed, or about which scheme I should go for. We say you come and apply and we'll fit you into the right bracket. So this is the framework. We believe that more than push, pull is what is working better way.
First, I'll answer that nuclear this thing. See, while we are jointly developing with NPCIL that 1700 megawatt 4 into 700 megawatt WHR technology reactors. As I told you in the beginning only when I had shared, it is basically a combining of both the skills. Because balance of plant is similar in a nuclear plant and a coal-fired power plant. So that is the capability in which NTPC is bringing to the table, and the PWHR technology is being brought in by NPCIL. And then there will be some kind of a transfer of technology also, and our engineers are also getting trained on that nuclear technology. So they are also undergoing training right now also for that technology. So that's how we are going about adding up the nuclear capacity. And I would like to say, being NTPC, which has to cater to the base load, we should not forget that base load requirement has to be met by some technology. So the nuclear and hydro are the two solutions that can be the solution for India also. So we have to work on these two, because these are the kind of demand that is for India, that is required for India. Even if we use that entire land, the RE capacity with battery storage will not be able to meet it. We do not have that much of land bank available for that RE capacity to be developed. So what is important is that these kind of base load technologies of nuclear and hydro also have to cater for that. Let us all understand that very clearly. As Shantanu had said, we are also looking at SMRs also. That could be one of the solutions for a industry which needs 24/7 power supply. Because if this could be brought and this could be used, then there will be no requirement of battery energy storage or pumped energy storage, or pump storage requirements can be reduced. Because pumped energy storage requirements would be because gestation period is very high, and battery energy storage is still not very clear. So that is the case. And as you have said, these are the technologies that we are going, which will continue to generate employment. As far as RE is concerned, we are going to add 60 gigawatt by 2032. See, we added 60 gigawatt of thermal in so many years. In almost, let me say, the last 45 to 50 years, we will be completing 50 years the next year. So in that 50 years, now 60 gigawatt we want to do in the next next decade. So that is, the employment generation is much more, because that much of capacity will be adding, because they have a shorter gestation period. So if we multiply that many times, so another 4 decades if we add, so that is the kind of employment that will be generated. For operation of these plants, the employment may not be much, but for, let us say, for setting up these plants, a lot of manpower is required, because again, there are inverters, there are erection work is involved, leveling of the ground is involved, and everything. So that is the employment generation for that much of per megawatt of capacity will be much higher, because it will be done in a very, very shorter time. So that is my, and then of course we are looking at these big ticket investment, pump storage, and as I told you, green hydrogen projects, which and battery energy storage system, which again would be requiring a lot of manpower, like hydro projects. So that is how we are transitioning, and nuclear, of course. So these are the kind of things, and along with the renewable. So we have everything on the table, and I think that will help us to transition to a net zero way in a just manner, as you are saying.
Thank you very much. I think I'm not going to try to summarize. We spoke about many things across the board, but actually really big initiatives across the board from all of these sort of large institutions that are playing a critical role in enabling this, both the industrial decarbonization, green transition journey for India. So let's give a big round of applause for the panel. Thank you very much.